fellow vegetable haters, my name is Daniela and today I will be making pupusas. So if you want to know how to make pupusas, which is a Salvadoran delicious dish, then keep watching. The first thing that I usually make is the sauce because you have to boil it, so while you're making the pupusas, the sauce can be boiling and that's just like great time management. So first, let's do the sauce.
Alright, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm transferring half an orange bell pepper chopped, 1/4 of a yellow chopped bell pepper, and 1/4 of a chopped green bell pepper onto the saucepan. I'm also pouring 4 cups of water, and then I'm just going to wait till the veggies boil. So, yeah. But you can, really, this is just any regular sauce. You can use whatever vegetables you have at hand. This is just what I felt like doing tonight, so. While we wait for this to boil, let's move on to making the dough for the pupusas.
So this is the dough, the flour that my family's always used. I will put the name of it in the description down below. I've never really measured when I make pupusas, but for the sake of you guys, I'm measuring today. So I'm gonna begin with 2 cups of flour. And honestly, making the dough is like one of the most important parts of the pupusa. If you make it too soft, the pupusa will just fall apart. If you make it too hard, the pupusa will be like really hard and not really appetizing. So once you put the flour in the bowl, you're going to put 2 cups of water into it. And I'm honestly not sure about the measurements here. So I would say have 2 cups of water ready, but just do it little by little. You will need to have your hands very clean for this because, yeah, this is a very tactile recipe, honestly. So you want it to not be too hard, not too soft. That way, the pupusa will maintain its form.
One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is that I do like to add 1 tablespoon of oil onto my dough. That way when the pupusa is cooked, it has a softer look to it, and also the dough itself will be a little bit softer. Alright, so it seems like our veggies that were boiling are already boiling. So now we're gonna take them out of the pot, obviously, and we're only gonna take out the vegetables and we're gonna put them in the blender. And once you've poured all the vegetables into the blender, what I like to do is I put in a small can of regular tomato sauce into the blender, and then I fill up that empty can with some water, pour it into the blender. Once everything's poured in this case I poured 2 tablespoons of vegetable seasoning, 1 teaspoon of jalapeño salt, and then a pinch of salt, but you really can use anything you want. Tonight I was filling these seasonings, but really I use whatever. It doesn't matter. It's really up to your preference once again. So yeah. And then once I put in the seasoning, I put it into the puree setting on the blender, and then I just wait for it all to be mixed in, and then I put it back into the saucepan to boil once again. Alright, now while this is boiling, let's go back to making those delicious pupusas.
Alright, so once you have the dough done, the first step is to grab some oil and basically pretend like the oil is some lotion for your hands. You want your hands to have oil at all times in order for the pupusa not to fall apart while you're molding it. Because otherwise it's going to be really hard to maintain the stuffing in it. Alright, so step one, after you put the oil on your hands, is to make a little ball. It can be about 1/2 inch in radius, so like 1 inch in diameter. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Make a ball, and then slowly you start to flatten it out with your hand. Start flattening it out, and you can grab oil as you need to try to get the cracks off. So you just keep pressing down until you can form a small indentation at the center in order for the filling to fit in it. And people do it differently, but I found that this is the way that works for me. So this is what it should look like. Alright, so then after that comes the fun part. The main ingredient of the inside is cheese. So you can have any type of filling in it. You can have all types of veggies, spinach, carrot, broccoli, whatever you can think of. But the one component that will hold it together is the cheese. So I usually start out with cheese. It's about 1/2 tablespoon of cheese every time. And then in this case I'm using spinach. There's really no way to measure this, but you're just trying to make it all fit in here without it falling apart once you flatten it out. And then I end with more cheese on top so it can bind together. And then this is the hard part, and the part that most people mess up on, even I. You start to close it out, and trying to maintain the stuffing in the inside as you go. Grab some oil in order to have it in your hand, and just push the stuffing in. The dough should stretch, and just close it around it. If you have any extra dough, you just put it inside your dough bowl again. Otherwise you're gonna have edges without cheese and without stuffing, and you don't really want that. So then once again, the most important part after you do that is to grab some oil and try to fix all the cracks that might have created. And then you end up with another ball. Except this time the ball's a little fatter due to the stuffing. And you just flatten it out once again. But this time will be a little harder because your pupusa will be trying to fall apart every push you give it. So now you're basically trying for it to look like a tortilla. It's just gonna be a fat tortilla. Alright, so as you can see, it's trying to fall apart. So what I do when this happens is I grab some oil and I like gently press down on it, trying to push the dough together again. This happens to everyone. It's not really something you can prevent 100%. So at the end, your pupusa, your raw pupusa should look somewhat like this. You will have little cracks, but in reality, if any stuffing does come out, like if a little bit of stuffing comes out, that's honestly gonna taste the best because slightly burnt cheese is delicious. But anyway. Okay, right before you put it in a skillet, or a comal, as I call it in Spanish. I don't really know what the exact translation for it is, but I'm gonna just call it a skillet. Before you put it onto skillet, just bathe it in oil once again. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy, but it's gonna be hella delicious, I promise. So do that, it's all oiled up, and then you go. Alright, and now it's ready to toss onto the comal. So follow me. So this is what a comal is. I don't know what it's called in English, but if you know, let me know in the comments below. And so you're just going to slap it onto there, making sure that it stays somewhat composed. Alright, so a couple minutes have passed already. I went ahead and made more, but this is the one that we started with. One way to know when it's okay to turn it is if the spatula goes all the way through without it getting stuck. Or you can also just turn it and then you'll see the golden brown look to it. So that's one way to know that the pupusa was ready to turn. But also, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but a really good note to take is that try to only turn the pupusa once. That way it doesn't get too hard, and it'll have the perfect texture to it. Alright, so you've made your first pupusa. Congratulations. But then another part that most people don't know how to do is, how do you eat it? Well, you will need no utensils whatsoever for this unless you're pouring sauce onto your plate. So what you do is you just basically cut it apart, you dip it in the sauce, swirl it around, and then you take that first bite and it will be delicious. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first recipe making video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you've tried other ingredients or stuffing in the pupusa, or if you know what the comal is called in English, please let me know. I will put my social media handles right here, and see y'all next time. Bye.